Suppose you and your friend wants to achieve an end result, but there is a mismatch in the methodologies to achieve the end result. Now, how would you make sure your friend listens to your idea? The technique which you can use here is called Socrates technique or yes, yes technique. This technique is used by Socrates himself to make sure the other person finally accepts the Socrates idea. Here you ask a series of questions for which the listener is definitely going to say yes. And since you are making sure the person is saying yes for all the questions you are asking, you are psychologically putting him in an affirmative state where it is like you are running, starting to run, you're going at full speed, now stopping abruptly and going in the reverse direction is, it is going to take a lot of energy. So in this condition, he will continue to run forward. So since you are getting lot of yeses, and finally when you put the question which you wanted him to say yes, he is most likely to say yes. Suppose if you ask a question and he tells no in the first place, what do you think is going to happen? Now, saying yes is not a problem, but saying no is just not a two-letter word. It means when I am saying no, it means my cells, my glands, my nerves, everything is getting ready to reject. If we say no in the starting, then it is really not very good to get a yes from the person, because the self-pride is going to come in the way. Even though I can see the logic in what you're saying is right, since I've already said no, that thing is going to prevent me to say yes to you. So in this video, let us see through actual live examples how we can apply this yes, yes technique so that we can also learn to implement in our daily life. So the first example is a customer walks into a bank to open a savings account. The bank manager, earlier when somebody comes and suppose they wanted to start a bank account, he used to give application form, and in that application form, if he finds the customer is not filling all the columns, he used to tell with pride and authority, if you don't fill all these columns, then we cannot help you. You cannot start a bank account here. Now, can you see here the bank manager was not giving importance to the person, he was giving importance to the bank's rules. Now, obviously, the customer does not feel important, so most of the people did not start the bank account. But since this bank manager has gone through this program of how to influence people, he wanted to use this yes, yes technique. So he asked the customer, first of all, he said, thank you for filling the form. And these columns which you have not filled are really not mandatory. But do you want the money in your savings account to be going to a person whom you feel is the right person after your death? The customer said, yes. And do you want us to transfer the money to them in an easy and an effective and in a fast way? He said, yes. So could you please write the next of kin? Could you please write down the details which you have left? So now in this case, the bank manager did not talk about things which he wanted. He talked about things what the customer wanted. So in this way, the customer was very happy to fill all the details in the application form. Now there is another example where a shopkeeper uses yes, yes technique to get the customer and made the customer to buy so many items from his shop. Now there was a person where he wanted to do this bow and arrow thing for fun and he loved it. And he was having the entire kit for him. Now his friend was coming, so he wanted to take his friend for this bow arrow thing. But they were not having extra set spare, so he called a shop and the shop person said, sorry, we don't rent any bow and arrow. The call got disconnected. Now the person calls another shopkeeper who used the yes, yes technique. Let's see here. Now he asked the same question, do you rent bow and arrow? The shopkeeper said, no, but because of some reasons we had stopped it. But when did you last do the rent of bow and arrow? He said like 2 to 3 years before. Okay, and what was the cost of that? $30. Are you a person who saves a lot of money? Yes. Now the cost of new bow and arrow is $34. Is it okay you spend $4 more than renting and now you can actually own a bow and arrow kit? Now, can you see? He said yes, obviously, because just $4 more than renting. So he actually purchased a kit which is $34, and along with that he purchased so many items from that particular shop. So by using this yes, yes technique, we are not putting the other person's pride at stake, and we are also not putting our pride at stake. So in this way, we can get the other person to accept our point of view. But the only challenge is we have to do our homework and ask the right questions. Maybe with experience, it might come naturally, but for starters, we really need to do our homework. So with this, I'm ending this video. If you think this yes, yes technique can be applied in your daily life, please let me know. I'll be very happy to hear that. And as always, sharing is caring. Bye.